Wow. Lovely to see you all sitting there. I'll be walking around. That's fine, right? Good afternoon. They instructed that I should be very loud. Okay? So good afternoon and welcome to the graveyard shift. Yeah? Let's take a pledge. If you're going to sleep, we'll all sleep. Right? We'll not let the person sitting beside you sleep. Agreed? Okay. You know what? You guys are on Amazon Prime. You watch Amazon Prime. What's the most irritating thing about Amazon Prime today? I'm feeling like that ad right now. After Soham and Gaurav's fantastic performance out here, I'm feeling like an ad, honestly. Okay? But I hope what comes after the ad is something that you will take home. Right? You see these 8 Maharathis out here. We're going to have a Mahabharata of sorts. Whatever happens in Texas stays in Texas. Right? We're prepping for it. There's a lot of bloodshed. Okay, people went at each other's throats. They had to spend some time, getting all their costumes together. Don't go by their, lovey-dovey looks. They're actually raring to go at each other. And it kind of takes from the drama that was enacted, a few minutes back. There was that undercurrent between a fight between tech and people who didn't believe tech. And in a certain sense, we're kind of formalizing that war out here by having 2 sides, which, and as I ask them to introduce themselves, they'll probably tell you as to which side they are working for. But on this side, we've got folks who believe that the traditional HR is more than enough for at least a couple of centuries and 4 more Trump invasions. And while the faction on the right believes that no, there's a lot tech can do, right? And we're kind of overemphasizing ourselves and our importance, while tech is the actual leader there. Okay, now how we will do that is because every war has a structure, right? Sham hote, jab shankh bajta hai to, everyone goes home, right? So in a similar sense, we will also have a structure, and I will try to, bring in some structure. I will get caught in the crossfire. Okay, I will need your help. Do not keep questions to the end. If you think I'm in deep trouble, please fire a question to them. Okay, so I presume that you're going to be on my side. Good? Yes. Excellent. Now, I think, this particular, today, I think there's been a lot of discussion in terms of, the capabilities that drive new retail. We talked about AI in coaching, right? And I think coaching is something that we're going to touch upon as well. And there was an interesting discussion of transition from HR to HX in the morning, correct? Now, what over the next 80 minutes we'll do is we'll really see whether the dog is wagging the tail or the tail is wagging the dog, as far as tech is concerned. And this is going to be executed by 8 experts in the field of HR. Ladies and gentlemen, you are collectively seeing upwards of 150 hours of 50 years of experience. Please give them a big hand. Now, that is a seriously endowed brain trust, and I've spent about an hour and a half with them prepping. Even through the bloodshed, I could see lots of nuggets of information coming in. It's been a truly enriching experience for me as well. So we will minutely explore the tech and human aspects of multiple dimensions. But before we get into the grind, let's have a quick round of introduction, ladies and gentlemen. Very quick, very short. Don't expose your armory that you have. Right? Just talk about yourself for a minute, and then we'll take it from there. Yes, start with you, Uday.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Uday. I've been in the HR industry for 18 years. Basically a computer science engineer, moved into HR. So that's why I'm here as a tech. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Puja. I represent Nexus Malls. Been in the industry for over 18 to 20 years. True blue retailer, and love what I do. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mahesh. I represent Reliance Digital, and I have about 25 years of work in HR.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Darshan Thakkar. 28 years back, I was a customer care associate in ShopperStop. I'm still the same. Just the difference is that now I'm working with Aditya Birla lifestyle brand as retail HR head.
Hi, I'm Taruna Suhasni Lombror. I have been working with IKEA for 5 years now. In totality, approximately, I think, 25 years with HR. Still living co-workers first from the first day to now. Very happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Hi, Nirav here. I head HR at Siju Cosmetics. I'm in this profession for the sheer love of it. I love outdoors. And at every early opportunity presented, I'll be under the sun. So yeah, that's what I am.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robin, and I represent Chroma over here. Overall, I have 20 plus years in retail and very passionate about the industry. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Adhir. I have been in the HR for just about over 3 decades now, so I think I truly represent traditional HR in that. So, my last assignment was with Raymond Limited as a CHRO for their corporate function, but I have got an extensive experience in retail, both here and overseas, but still trying to learn from the bigwigs like GRV sitting with me in front of me. We always learn from what Reliance does as an organization, and he especially. So I always have that kind of learning hat on. And I see some of my folks who had worked with me earlier sitting here, so glad to meet you guys. And all the best to the panels here. Yeah, thank you.
I mean, he very, very easily left out all the best to me, right? But anyways, Robin, he's very modest. What he didn't mention is, his name is Robin Sharma, the monk who didn't sell his Ferrari. Sorry, I couldn't, I couldn't stop from doing that. But okay, now let's get serious. No. Itna bhi serious nahi, bhai. Okay, so what we will do is, you know what, guys? I really couldn't get a sense of what this topic actually means. What is traditional HR? What is HR tech? Would you want to kind of explain on it a little bit more so that each of us is on the same page? Because otherwise, I think everyone's on a separate page as far as HR tech and and traditional tech is concerned. So, who wants to do it?
Let's start with traditional.
Okay. I didn't even have to blow the bugle, right? Yes, Nirav.
Thanks for pushing me to volunteer.
Yes.
All right. So I think the definition of people and culture, I don't like to call it HR. I like to call it people and culture. The definition by itself has changed over the last few years. It's not a support function anymore. It's not a enabling function. The seat at the table is yours to take. So if you're really able to do good work a lot closely with the businesses, then there's a lot to be done. So the definition of traditional HR is not bookkeeping and all that. I think we should just keep that out of this room. Traditional HR in today's day and age talks about the approach to solving people issues. And because the people issues themselves have evolved and become a lot more tech enabled, you have no other option but to bring in tech as a solution over there as well. Case in point being that suddenly the remote working became a rite of passage for most of the organizations to scale. Now, this is not a problem that we were solving for earlier. We are doing it now. DPDP has come into play. So suddenly you're having to spend a lot on your IT infrastructure and safety. Suddenly you can't store Adhir, so you're going to have to create separate servers and vaults to ensure that you are able to request for Adhir. So I think the definition of traditional HR today, the way it stands is, number one, are you understanding the business you're solving for, fundamentally? Second, are you really deeply solving for people aspirations? Third, are you the organization that is building careers? Fourth is, are you the organization that is actually at the cutting edge of enabling long-term careers for people? And last but not the least is, are you the function that is actually driving strategic execution rather than just coming and told that please go ahead and execute that. So I think this is broadly the way I would define, and I'm happy to lean back on my colleagues.
So what you're essentially saying is that it's driven by people. It's driven by the brain trust, it's driven by people, it's driven by folks who understand the need to manage manpower, right?
Yeah, and I think it was also about erstwhile more to look at having a system, a certain rules that needs to be followed, a certain way that we are doing things, maybe manual intensive in terms of how are we looking at entire piece of documentation, etc., and all of that. So we were erstwhile personnel management to then become human resources to now being more closely looked at people from people and culture, getting more closer to the co-worker side of it and to the business side for partnering than just being more administrative at the back end. So that's the transition that we have gone through.
See, I think one of the important aspects which Nirav brought to the fore is about the aspect of partnering, the aspect of understanding what are you in service of. I think we are in service of making sure that the people actually, the whole people system gets enabled to contribute to the business, and that's where you have a right to play on this, a right to have a seat on the table. What I think personally is we are making a big hue and cry about tech and all that, because that's an enabling function for us. I think you can't imagine, you can probably at least today, you can't imagine that it will be completely wiped out in the way.
Adhir, you're getting right directly into day 5 of the war. So
Well, you should have expected him to do that.
Correct.
He is
So-
actually our opening batsman. But
I agree to that. But what I'm distilling out of this is that the very aspect of HR has changed from being. In fact, Soham also kind of indicated that it's look at yourself as a business as well. Don't say let's go to business and create business as some kind of a third party, but you are a business and you're no longer a cost center, which is kind of in the flanks. So essentially, you are saying that you are the force that is driving all the change and all the adoption and the innovation that company sees. Then why do you need tech here?
Okay, I'm going to say this straight.
Siju, thanks for instigating that, by the way.
In retail, I believe HR tech is not a trend. It's not a season. It's not an enabler alone. I think it's survival today. And we have been in retail, and retail does not run Monday to Friday. We run on footfalls. We run on peak seasons, weekends, EOSS. There is extra manpower requirement when it's least expected. There is high attrition, about 30 to 35% in Indian retail. So you're talking about an organization churning itself in 3 years. And manually managing that, I don't think we need to do that anymore. Of course, we've done it. We've been there, done that. But I think now it's time to accept the HR tech and move ahead with it.
The sound of warning to all those guys who thought, that tech is an enabler, don't cross Puja's path any time. Okay, she clearly believes that tech is not an enabler. It's actually an imperative. It's a non-negotiable, right? So this is so understand what I went through in the last 1 hour, right? I've been with these folks, and they're very passionate about it. And DT will now come in and pump up the passion index a couple of notches higher. Yes, DT.
If you are still writing a chitti to your friend and putting it in the post box, then you will not understand what's happening here, right? I think we are somebody. This group is somebody who's going to bring the Instagram, Snapchat way of making friends, interacting, making the difference in everybody's life. I think this is the glamour part of it. So just give a round of applause to all the tech guys who are here, who's going to create some glamour for you. I didn't still hear that clap. Yeah. So yeah.
Very
so
muted.
now it is here that now with the intensity of the clap, you realize that you do need.
We'll get majority.
Yeah, you'll get majority.
Because we are with the people, and whatever Instagram doesn't
DT,
matter, we
by the
still
way-
need to interact.
By the way, it was a deafening clap. Thanks everybody for being so. It was deafening. I still can hear the hum, yaar. I'm so.
Why do I get the sense that I will need to divide this hall into 2 parts now? Right? Okay, guys who like traditional HR, go there. Who like tech HR, go here, and Baki, follow me. So
One more point I want to make here for the tech HR. So,
they will not leave, right?
so
Yes, please.
let me put it this way from a perspective. If traditional HR was recruitment, we are revolutionizing that recruitment. If traditional HR was onboarding it, tech HR is today personalizing it. Okay? If you're talking about life cycle journeys, that's where we are creating customized life cycle journeys for all employees. And most important, we are ensuring that the exits are also dignified.
So again, we are actually, letting out our armory a bit now. But I'm very excited now. Now this is really sufficiently warmed up now, and this is just the beginning. This is just the introduction, guys. Okay. Now what we will do is we'll take each dimension of HR and allow them to fight it out. Okay. And then you can form your own opinions, and you can fight amongst yourselves as well. Yeah. But let it be a civil fight. Talent acquisition, guys. Talent acquisition is so very important, right? How do both sides see it? You want to go first, or you want to go first? Opening
I think.
batsman.
Come on, guys, you can do it.
She's conveniently take it away. अरे 3 बार take it away बोल दिया है. And she's not spoken once.
No, I did.
Oh, no, she
I
did.
got the claps, didn't I?
Yes, yes.
Let's have the clap, guys.
See,
I'm
now
telling
that's traditional HR.
This is so good. I really like this leader.
Now we're making claps into a tradition now. I think we should just move in from tradition to traditional. Adhir, I will give you 2 minutes to talk next.
Well, I think talent acquisition has evolved over a period of time, and I'm not saying that these guys don't enable us. But having said that, I think beyond the point, to take the raw decision about how to actually hire, there's a lot of intuition that actually has to be looked at. There's a lot of a sense that one has to get, which can't be looked at from a typical text standpoint. I mean, why do you actually have to meet, say, for example, I'm talking mainly of, say, senior leaders or even mid-managers, where someone needs to see them, and we can always see them on a Zoom, but many companies I have worked for, they want them to be physically present so that you get the vibe of a person, what he or she brings to the table. That necessarily cannot be replaced even today by whatever enablement you do, etc. You can actually look at matrices been thrown out, you can look at a variety of other dimensions, but this part, which is a critical part, you cannot replace overnight with the kind of the importance of actually getting that sense of a person. And the intuition that you get when I meet, say, for example, Nirav walks into my room and you get that vibe. That vibe can't be replaced by whatever. It's at the end of the day a people function. And I think that's very, very key for us to note, that tech can enable. I am reiterating maybe the 4th or 5th time that it's an enabling function. And by no stretch of imagination, I can say that it can replace some of these kind of qualities of what a person-to-person chat can actually add value to the organization. And that's my take on some of these dimensions.
So don't get fooled by Adhir when he says, he's old. He's used the word vibe some 4 times, right? Guys, open challenge, right? There's no technology that can enable whatever...
Picture this in your mind. You have a vacancy and you want to recruit somebody. So the traditional HR would probably go around maybe scanning some 100 resumes to get about 30 ones which are better, and then all that happens, you are still finding and struggling time to meet each of the candidate. Before you meet the 5th one, you forget what the first one was all about, and so forth. And when the business asks you, when I'm going to get the guy on the place, you will say, in the traditional HR way, I'll get back to you. Well, we are going to change that. So at Tech, I think one of the things that we do at ABLBL specifically is we have an AI tool that helps us to get the resumes filtered all over the internet to tell you which are the best profiles for you. After that, it just sends an email to the person with a link to answer 5 simple video questions. And basis on the video that the person is recording for him or herself, the AI will tell you these are the 4 people that you should meet. And not only that, it will also tell you which one you should meet first, which one you should meet second. On the front end, however, we have a QR code outside our store which says join our team. If you've not noticed that outside a Louis Philippe, Allen Solly, Van Heusen, or Reebok or any other store, do let me know. I'll make sure it comes up. But there is a QR code there which kind of you can scan that QR code. It will take your basic details. and also direct you to video questioning where a CCA records 4 answers to the video question. And then we get to know who is the one that we need to recruit. We save time. We make sure that we give the glam part of the tech to the person who is, and please understand, about 35 to 40% of our people are Gen Z. And it is very, very connecting for them to, do a video of themselves and kind of upload there so that they get to live their passion, but also we get to know what kind of person that we are. In retail, we need people who are extroverts. And this is the best way we can filter how people are extroverts. So, here you go.
So, what is said,
I'll come to you, probably Uday.
So, adding to Darshan, suppose if we have to recruit for pan-India, and I wanted to have a value-based hiring across India, like what Adhir was saying, one-on-one meeting, understanding the value. How many candidates will you be able to meet in a day to understand whether they are fitting into my culture and value? But whereas we are working with an AI company which is actually screening approximately 1,500 candidates in a day. Just imagine the scale. My entire workforce is only 1,500 and I'm able to screen 1,500 candidates in a day where they are fitting into my value systems and culture. Because today, there was somebody saying in the morning that there are enormous of talent available in the market. Mm-hmm. But is the talent suitable for my company, my culture, my value system? That's more important, right? So how do I do that very technically way? Rather believing in one person, which has a subjective, now it's more objective. So the AI gives me whether the person is fitting into my value system or not.
Perfect.
Of course, it will be watched by further round of interviews. But the screening, 1,500 candidates in a day, is massive.
Mahesh.
I'll just give an example. I just want to rebut these guys for a minute. And I'll give a very personal example.
Okay.
Am I allowed to do that?
You can get personal, no worries.
Not personal as in personal to him, but I'll give you an example of what happened with me just about a week back. And I was using an LLM model. I'm not going to name and shame that model, but I kind of queried on a prompt, and it gave me an answer. After half an hour, I queried again on the same prompt. That model just refused. I have not recommended this. This is where the problem lies.
First of all, good start. Good start.
So
because
can I just complete?
Can I just started at least looking at the tech. The traditional guys have really started looking at the tech.
So what am I trying to say?
Yeah. So
let me just complete what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I mean, he stepped down half the pitch, and you haven't allowed him to.
Yeah, I have not even been allowed to actually move forward.
I'm very happy he did that.
So see, I have utilized tech, but what happened is it has given me a completely wrong perception about the model, saying that it just refused.
So Mahesh, what went wrong?
So
it has just refused. So how do I then say tech is going to work? So that's the reason I'm coming time and again.
I was actually batting for you.
No, it's going to be enabling function, not something which we can actually wholeheartedly.
So before that, I have a point to make on behalf of all the retailers here. We operate at about 5% margin, about 50% turnover at about 500 locations. Time is a luxury we don't have. Okay. Second is what you just mentioned. I'm sure all of us are using tech to a certain extent. Even the chances of, like you rightly said, human errors are also possible. You are pointing one error from a system, okay? That can be multiplied by human errors also. It's how we learn and go.
No, I would say it's not a tech error. It may be a prompt error. So, of course, you are traditional.
Right.
Of course, you are traditional.
No, I don't agree.
You will learn your ways.
Because
you will learn your ways.
If it was a prompt error, I would have got a different answer. It just refused.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's not a prompt error, therefore.
Okay, any solution
but
providers?
Uday, that's a lot coming from somebody who works for the sleep company.
The sleep company, that's what I wanted to say. We are a tech company which is, introduced the technology even in sleeping.
आप ठीक से सो नहीं रहे हो, आपको हम बताते कैसे सोना है. I'm like, dude. Thanks for making my life so much easier.
So much for talent acquisition. I think this is phenomenal talent here, right? And it was interesting to get the viewpoints. I mean, essentially it became a fight between quality and quantity. I'm not saying quantity doesn't have quality, nor am I saying that quality doesn't come with the quantity that is needed, right? I might just need 2 pairs of shoes while my neighbor has 50. That doesn't mean that I need to have 50, right? So quality is not really a function of that. So it's getting to be more of a fight between quality and quantity. Adhir is almost certain, and he's kind of backing it up by saying, you know what, I tried tech once, it didn't work. Not that it never worked, but one instance it didn't work, so probably I will look at it with some shades on. Now we've acquired the talent, and how do you get into the learning and development part of it? Yeah? Someone has to understand your company. So how is it that you build those design journeys? I mean, how do you build those journey designs, the content for learning and development or the delivery?
It's very simple. Just get a robot to interact, no? Like, I'll place a robot at the reception. Every employee who walks in has to have a conversation, heart-to-heart conversation with the robot. Robot has to ask all the logical questions, get the data, and draw up an individual development plan.
Okay,
We'll solve for it,
Can
right?
you have a hashtag sarcasm come up on stage, please?
Or you can have a sad-looking person sitting there who is not interested in his or her job and passing on the message to the new joiner saying this place isn't as good as they told you.
And also telling them how they can become as poor as they are, right, later on. Yeah.
So,
I agree.
I prefer the robot.
Puja, just in case if you are unhappy where you are.
No, I am not. I love my company.
Or with the team.
We can add a chair here, don't worry. But, so, yeah, you were saying what to do.
Yes.
But, yeah, I mean...
So how does, okay, let's get incrementally serious here, in the sense that how does the traditional part of HR really help in building or designing journeys that will actually enable good L&D?
Robin, you want to hit that?
Yes, Robin.
See, when it comes to reinforcing or even establishing a culture, right? In retail, customer service is very important. And if we have just modules, because I know you will come up with scale, right? You will come up with e-modules that you can just send one module and everybody is going to just learn and understand that with the questions which are there after every module. But that doesn't happen because your module will give you one report, and that is where there is a disconnect between HR and business, where business will tell you that you have done 100 hours of training, but it is not visible in the outcomes which are there. And where the HR and the L&D teams struggle with ROI. So till the time you don't have a person who is on the floor telling them how it has to be done, or get everyone into a classroom and do role plays, because your tech can't do role plays. Your body language, the way the person is speaking, right? All those nuances has to be done in person. And that is where you learn. And all the nuances can be added on.
While I agree, absolutely.
So at least you are agreeing with this, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I agree that role plays are more fun when done in person. But as you said, you're right, we will get the scale back into the picture. We're talking about retail here, and we're talking about 250 stores across 100 cities in India. And it's not possible for a trainer to go to these 250 locations and have role plays for all those team members. Not happening. Too much cost, too much time, and everything in vain. Plus, the entire process takes a lot of time. So I think tech is the way ahead in L&D. The LMS is here to stay. How we use the LMS, although, is absolutely in our hands. I have had people from different organizations say that the LMS failed. But I also have examples where we have enrolled people and we got 91% logins within the first 6 weeks.
Correct. I agree with you. The initial part has to be digital, right? But when the reinforcement and the relevance has to be checked, I'm not saying have 500 trainers. Your store manager can be one of the trainer who can be trained, right?
Absolutely. So, yeah. Absolutely. He can be, but then how do you train the trainer? That is also digital. That's what we are trying to say.
The store manager in a retail is the owner. He's the kind of a CEO. He drives the culture. And if it is anything which is to be related to either customer or internal processes or stakeholders.
So that brings me to a very worrisome point. Because if you're saying the store manager is the CEO and he drives the culture, I need tech even more to ensure that the right culture is trickled to all the 250 points.
Okay, just for this sake of some brevity here, let's keep culture aside for a moment because we'll have a slightly more deeper discussion on that. But she's thrown the LMS Brahmastra at you, right? And you happily said it's fine. But who decides on the LMS? Who decides which LMS to adopt?
even what kind of LMS. And most of the LMS, they fail because they are too complicated, and they are actually incorporated without even keeping the user in mind, right? The UI, UX is very difficult for them to understand.
That's a traditional HR problem, actually.
So one more thing.
No, I think one thing which you all should be aware of is that you answered the question that I'm going to ask you and flip it over. This LMS for whom?
So the LMS is
LMS for people, right?
LMS for
or
the
is
front end.
for a robo?
No, it's always for the people.
Always for the people. So
We
I
are all
think
here for
that's
people.
one of the things which I'm mentioning time and again is an enabler. You can browbeat about tech and all that stuff, but typically you answered the question very succinctly for us, saying that this is going to be used ultimately for people and in a retail business, which is so heavy, people intensive. It
No,
can
but we
just act
are-
as a kind of a lever and not replace a store manager's role.
No,
Or-
we are not talking about...
So you're agreeing with us, right?
we are not talking
You're absolutely
about...
agreeing with us saying that the
No,
people
I'm
manager
not.
has a role to play in a store.
So tech HR, as we defined it,
Yeah.
doesn't mean that we don't need people. Are you in your
At
head
least you have come to one
replacing-
submission that you're not going to replace all of us sitting here.
Oh
and,
my God,
yeah.
not at all. No.
Okay.
It's not about robots.
Coming to your point, this is people. But what we are asking is, why should Adhir or Nirav has to choose what the customer associate has to go through? Check. Yeah. So why Adhir or Nirav sitting in one office has to decide what that CRE has to go through? We are saying we will personalize through tech that there is a content library. Let the respective individual choose what he wants to learn. That's what the tech can do. One. Second, coming to Ravin's role play, I think you missed the morning session by Avartan. They had a beautiful, role play model, AI-enabled role play models. So imagine how many role plays you'll be able to conduct in a retail stores. Now you have to make it as a VR, not as individually, doing it. So that can be done only through tech. So that's what our
Got that. No, with you on that. Are you on Instagram?
Of course.
Are you on Insta, right? What sort of feeds you get?
Sorry?
What sort of feeds you get?
What's other?
Feeds.
Whatever the feed I'm keep looking at, that's what I get.
So what you scroll is what you get fed.
Of course.
But your preferences change every day?
Of course.
Which means you get fed everything which is different from the previous day?
So that's what I'm saying. It is my preferences. I keep changing. Accordingly, I see what I wanted to see. That's what the tech enables me. So I don't want somebody
let's just
sitting in
stay with this.
35,000 feet height and telling me that, no, you all go through this one module.
So, okay, just stay with me. All that I'm trying to get at is that when we talk about learning and development is solving something. What are we solving for? Let's start at the macro level. The business is saying, I have a business challenge. My requirement is that my workforce capability needs to be relevant for the problems that I have to solve to stay competitive in the market, right? That's the larger, broader statement. From there, everything comes for us to solve for. So the moment I put that framework in place, my L&D has to reflect that. Then come the nuances of interactions, preferences, aspirations, dreams, capabilities, skill gaps, technology, and all that. What I'm trying to do here, from my vantage point, is that I'm going to leverage technology so that it can do a lot of grunt work of collecting that intelligence and data, giving me that data in such a way that I can analyze it and make decisions. Right? So the source of that framework actually comes from me, because I'm the one who's designing it, right? So I will fundamentally always stay in control. I mean, you can tell me that, yeah, instead of I could have got 50 people, training team who could have gone and spoken with people, I could bring it down to maybe 25 people, which is doable. But the point is that the source of information and the credibility of the information comes from the quality of input that individuals give into the system.
Absolutely, Nirav. That's what, if the business gives the problem statement saying that capability has to be there for business solutions, right? The capability differs from a person to person, right? How can you, so morning one of the session, Andri ma'am was mentioning that one solution will not fit everyone.
Agreed.
So how do you now have a training program which is catering to 200 different people with 200 different requirements?
So where is this, the nuance that you just mentioned, where did that come from?
Comes from the technology. So we monitor everything through tech. You yourself accepted, right? You use the data from the technology. So I think you forgot that you're from traditional.
Can I add a little bit to it?
No, Tarun, I'll come to you.
Sure.
I would have anyways come to you. But Aditya has been wanting to make a point.
Yeah, so you have this retail workforce which is 20,000 plus, working across 2,000 plus stores. They have different shifts in which they come, and that's what it is. The only time that they get to look at things is when they are on the way to the store or when they're going. So at ABLBL, what we've done is AI has helped us to find out from the entire internet how to do a good tie knot, how to fold garments, how to iron them, and taken all these links and pushed on a platform that's readily available, which is an attendance system. So you are here trying to go and do your attendance system. Here is where you have another 4 videos which is also there, like an ad down, which you can just click and watch, whether it is Instagram, whether it is YouTube or wherever, and you can actually learn how to do a good tie knot. You can actually learn how to iron the garments today. So what I'm trying to say is, all said and done, you'll also have to find out, like he said, what's your audience like? And when does that your audience have time to consume your L&D? It's not like you're going to call a bunch of people in the classroom and make them sit at one place, look at one trainer, which is who would be interesting. I'm assuming, but the time is wasted, right?
So essentially, in a certain sense, you're pointing towards delivery at scale. As well, and at a time,
democratization.
And employee experience, because you're taking into account as to when can he consume or he or she consume.
I think standardization of delivery and standardization of content is what we are saying, because that is not possible if you are not using tech.
But I think the impact or the outcome that you're looking at in terms of success of a training depends on how people are receiving it.
Okay.
Now, you may have tools, and none of us actually said that tech is not needed. We are saying it's an enabler, right? Now, if, for example, we talk about customizations of the trainings, etc. as well, you're creating a standard module, you're allowing the personalization, but who is going to gauge what level of personalization is needed? If I have some question on what has been presented to me as a part of my LMS solution, who am I supposed to reach out and connect with, right? If I'm saying that I'm shying away from my responsibility of being an L&D person to have a heart-to-heart or a very strong or a good conversation, then what am I doing? Right? I need to have technology as my strength rather than having something which is going to replace me because I cannot travel to 20 stores or meet 20,000 co-workers. Then what am I supposed to be doing? I know that we'll talk about having a strategic alignment, etc. But then my primary role is meeting people and enabling that enabler to help them. So I'm not even doing that.
Correct. But at the same time, Tarun, if you look at it, the Anthropic CEO kind of, created waves at Davos when he said, probably 6 to 12 months, entire software development can be taken over by AI, right? So technology is evolving at a speed that's breathless. Yeah. How will you drive that service orientation? How will HR learn?
Let me also bring in a different element altogether, Siju. We are multi-generational at the workplace, right? Our children who are now probably entering the workforce, or the next one which is going to enter, the best thing that we have done is we have given tools and equipments in their hands. Everybody has an Apple and an iPad and a technology and an Insta and a Facebook. And then there is a problem that we're dealing with, which is loneliness on the psychological front. And then we say health and well-being has to be strong because we all are so isolated. And then we also make a statement that we are social beings and we all need to be together. And then there is a study which says that people are so tired of this loneliness and so tired of these tools and equipments that I need a face, I need a person to talk to. And then I bring in the AI avatars and say, do deal with this. So it's not about technology not being acceptable. It's also about how responsibly am I doing it? Am I just leaving people alone because deal with it? I'm sitting in one office and I'm saying, okay, I have a solution, just go ahead and deal with it, right? I want to drive culture. How? I'm saying I'm a people's person. Learn that in AI. Am I a people's person? Really? Ironically, I'm telling, I'm not available, but deal with this in AI.
So how do you counter that?
So I feel that obviously the direction is somewhere else. It's going from AI in tech in retail to something else. We are not talking about whether iPhones are good or bad for kids. That's a totally different debate. But I feel that today, let me give you an example instead of telling you what I think or what I feel. We have 20 malls across India. And we are in the business of acquiring malls, right? We don't build them. And when we acquire malls, we acquire people. And people, as they correctly have said, all come with their own preferences, with their own baggages. Very, very important to tie all of these people, 5,000 plus people, with a single culture, a single thread, and expect them to follow the standard operation procedures for the mall. All of this cannot be done by individuals going physically and delivering it. Of course, there is day 0, there is day 1 where we meet the entire team and all of that is done. We are not saying that humans should never meet. We are just saying that it's not possible to deliver efficiency in HR without technology today. We cannot do anything in HR which is highly efficient and highly reachable across without tech today. That's all we're saying.
So let's amp this up a bit. In a sense, if you look at a slightly smaller ecosystem, let's say you were to look at leadership development programs, right? For a section of your personnel that you have. How do you drive that? How do you drive leadership development? How do you drive coaching? Now, coaching is turning out to be quite important these days and is being accepted. It's not like, अरे यार 1 घंटा बैठना पड़ेगा coach के साथ. There are the coachees who are looking forward to being coached. And that's been a very healthy trend that I'm seeing. So in this area of leadership development, coaching, and mentoring, what's your respective say? I can start with the tech part.
I can give you an example. In fact, we did this last year in our organization. We had an entire session on having difficult conversations.
Okay.
And it was for mid-management to the higher management. Now what happens is, once a classroom session is over, they go back and they have forgotten the skills in the next 1 week.
But you agree that the driver is the personal focus in terms of
So
driving?
yes, because it was a very, very high-level skill-based program.
Mm-hmm.
It was very important for it to be personal because it was behavioral. It was not an SOP or it was not functional or it was not skill development, right?
Okay.
So behavior has to be done in the classroom as much as possible. And what tech helped me in was actually ensuring that behavior continues. And that was because, so we use LinkedIn Learning, and they have an AI coach, and you can actually give a persona to the coach. So if I have to have a difficult conversation, which is of course around the corner, it being Feb, March, I know exactly, I want to practice that using the skills, and I don't know how. The trainer is not going to come back. The HR is not going to help you practice. So what do? You go to your LinkedIn page, you go to the AI, you tell the person that, okay, you are so-and-so from this department, this designation, and I am your boss, or you are my boss, and let's have this conversation. And it's beautifully done. And I have people who have actually practiced that time and again and bettered the skill to have those critical conversations.
Okay. Let me just add. So at Aditya Birla Group, we did something called Conversation That Counts, something similar that you were talking about. Now I'll tell you how did the tech come in here, right? We recorded all the role plays that we did, right? And say if I was the one who was the coachee, my recordings were sent to me, right? And then what the AI did is also told me, apart from the coach's comments and what to be done, it also told from the AI also told that what you should be doing, how you should be having this conversation. Then it also gave you an opportunity to record yourself again and then find out how did you do. So I'm not taking away the fact that you don't require a personal one-to-one here. Yes, but how will it make better is where the tech will come in. It will make you more better. It will give you more recall, like she said. It will democratize. You can do it at your pace, at your time. So that's more important, I think, in a coaching.
Team traditional HR, they seem to be ceding some ground here. Is that so, or
Is it?
am I reading it wrong?
No, I mean, share of voice is not share of ground, no?
Okay.
So let me give you an example. Say about 6-7 years, and this is an actual case study, and a lot of you can actually search this up. Nike had a new CEO, and obviously the tech was all kind of booming and there was a lot to be heard and said about technology solving for retail issues. We all know Nike's recall is the highest in sportswear, right? Now, so the data clearly said that the world is moving towards e-commerce, and so are the buying patterns. So the CEO moved the inventory from offline to online. So he emptied the shelf space and moved the inventory to e-commerce, but the sale didn't happen. So sale did not happen on e-commerce. He left the shelf space. Those shelf space were then taken away by Adidas's, Puma's, On's, Asics of the world. And it saw 70% market share drop on shelf space for Nike in a matter of 18 months. Nothing wrong. Data said that, right? The trend was saying that. General, the sentiment seemed to be going all towards e-commerce. What the CEO missed was the emotion of seeing Nike brightly lit on the shelf space for a consumer. Now that was a miss.
But how do you equate that to, let's say, leadership development? I mean,
so let me allow, again, so everything that I say will be connected. Data will give us a lot of insight, okay? And it will be compellingly logical, because that's what data does, right? It's always logical. But there is also something called as genuine first-hand experimentation of the conclusions and the decisions that you arrive at based on that data. There is always a merit of A/B testing. In coding, there is something called as A/B testing, which means that you go and test your hypothesis. Organizations that have gone ahead and disproportionately invested in a hypothesis based on purely data have succeeded and have not succeeded also. So the jury is out there to tell us that whether this is the only way to approach or not. I think there are enough and more examples out there for us to go by. The point being that when we bring this data back to the leadership development, there is a huge amount of merit to say that I want to build a lot of data-enabled interaction for my leaders to start off that journey. Now the question is that how deep this journey can go, how long this model can walk with the individual to take it through. For me, when my CEO comes and says that I think we need to get a coaching intervention for my leadership, I believe that it's right up to solving a certain issue. It could be performance, it could be behavior, it could be anything. The point is that I really need to test whether the hypothesis based on which I build that AI model, is it going to serve me through the journey or not?
okay.
The other point which I just wanted to kind of allude to what he's also saying, I think you spoke about leadership development. I'll give a classic example of a visioning session or a strategy session and implementation cascade. And if you are typically going to use processes like, say, a group process facilitation, where you typically have a divergence, a grown, and a convergence in the group, how is your AI going to help in that process? Because that's not just possible. Because a consensus building has to go through a divergence, has to go through a grown process, and then a kind of a manthan, and then towards a convergence. So some of these deep processes which are there, I think technology can probably help you in terms of giving some insights. But at the end of the day, a facilitator has to actually wear that hat of a facilitator and actually facilitate towards a kind of consensus building.
So the design rests completely with you.
So yes, so design, as well as the fact that not just the design can be probably given by the tools, but typically what is happening is how am I actually present as a facilitator in that workshop? Am I actually being being part of facilitator, right? I think, are we actually helping that to happen? And that's a very deep process. And it doesn't happen just because you brought a tool and you gamify and stuff like that. But there are lots of variation that you go through. The facilitator has to know exactly what's the kind of temperature in the room, and that's where the vibe of the group has to be heard and seen, and what is not said also be heard. Can your system do that? Not possible.
Case in point. We all know Davos is going on, right? I mean, the World Economic Forum. Meta CEO, Google CEO, Microsoft CEO, probably the largest investors and proponents, Elon Musk, the largest investors and proponents of AI, they are there in person. in person. Interacting, schmoozing, influencing, policy making, all of it. So, while we can all talk about the importance of technology and the importance of, leveraging technology, but there is an element of what we call as the human interaction, the human engagement, reading the room, understanding the vibe, getting the emotions, leveraging that, all of that. I'm not sure I'm yet to come across a tool that can replace that. We'll wait and watch.
And there's a certain level of dynamism when it's a face-to-face people interaction, right? Technology or whatever data we have is based on our experiences. It could also probably predict it to a certain extent, but then we still continue to be very unpredictable, right? There's a certain level of dynamism that comes in. I can get somebody to go through the leadership module, but then what is the level of efficacy of that? How am I really practicing it? Should I practice with AI? Fantastic. But will my customer react the same? I'm really not sure. Probability. There is no denial from the fact that it is making a life easier. It's allowing me to ideate much better, allowing me to get solutions in a much better way, making it click off a finger. But is that everything? Right? Had that been the case today, we should not have been here. We all could have, probably been with the AI avatars having this conversation, and AIs would have done a better job in defending this or that, right? But we're sitting here and debating because there's a purpose, and so many people are sitting here for a purpose. There is something, we are social beings, there's a magic in coming together, right, for a purpose. So there's no denial on the fact that it is a strong enabler, but is that everything and can replace? Probably no.
Before my impatient friends start talking.
One second, Siju, I don't know where this is coming from, 1 second. I think, in my view, getting all of us together here and talking about it and discussing about this is not saying that we are taking the human intervention away.
Okay.
The problem with the traditional HR is, that they will always feel that once the technology will come, it is threat to the human.
Now we get to the point.
Yeah, which is the insecurity. And I think once we just get away with that insecurity and consider technology as your friend, your partner, I think you'll be fine. You'll get well soon. Yeah. But I just feel that just consider that as your friend.
Let me do a quick check out here. So it's also a sleep check. So how many of you believe that when technology comes in, you as a person in HR, you're insecure?
There you go. Big round of applause.
I think these 4 people will rise.
No, so
even they didn't.
no.
We never said there is an insecurity.
Correct. I think what they're saying is that there is no insecurity, right? Yes or no? This is a trick question. No insecurity.
So can I say something here, Siju?
Yeah.
We are not saying that tech is going to replace HR ever.
Okay.
Or we are not saying that tech will replace people
I always
ever.
knew you were playing for us.
Okay, what the argument is that tech is not an enabler, merely an enabler, but much, much more than that. And we are highly dependent on that today. And the examples we spoke about were basically with reference to that. Also, I believe that, in fact, the more tech you use, the more time you will have for human interactions where they're actually necessary.
Okay, I think what she's talking about is in terms of freeing up of time, right? Tech enables you to, free up time wherein you can do some other stuff.
Absolutely. Have the conversations that you need to have as an HR and not get stuck with Excel sheets and admin.
Guys, you cannot deny the fact that when it comes to scale and when it comes to speed, tech is king, right? That kind of helps you do that. Now, I don't want to get into an argument whether that's true or not, but what I would want you to do is look at scale and speed with respect to one aspect called culture, company culture. Now, that today is very important, right? And probably the most important thing to disseminate amongst your employees. So how do you see company culture being propagated in a manner that's efficient and effective?
I think there is a lot that's dependent on storytelling when it comes to speaking about culture and talking about it. And It's nothing but it's a culmination of our behaviors and some practices that we have been doing as a community in an organization. And then it starts from, we used to do like this and da-da-da, and there's a legacy that you carry forward, and that's how your culture gets strengthened, right? A good amount of storytelling needs to have personal involvement. Yeah. I want people to feel what I feel when I'm talking about it. It's very easy for me to have a culture model or a values and narration about those values being put into a solution and say, guys, go over it as a part of your induction and we are sorted. Versus somebody standing there and talking about how I felt X number of years back when I joined this organization, and this is what it was, and today this is where I stand, and this is what we do. There's a meaning to it, right? There's a value to it because you are bringing that level of involvement from your end to other. And I'll give you a very simple example. In our organization, there is a training that's defined, and we go to the place where IKEA started, a place called Älmhult in Sweden. And there we go to Ingvar's farm in Bolsar. And there for some time, we actually get down to building a stone wall. Yeah? I can simulate it, I can create it, I can make it available to all the co-workers. But the feel, and I've gone through that. And that's the conviction with which I'm saying this. When you go there and you get your hands out there and you're picking up the stones and you're making that stone wall on Ingvar's farm with the people on why that is important has tremendous impact on how I today look at the values.
So that's probably because you have legacy, you have history behind you. But what will a startup like a sleep company do? Or maybe like Sugar, it's a pretty evolved startup now.
They have to start somewhere. But if from the day one, that's the way I look at it. If from the day one, you allow only the technology front end and not the people to come and talk about it, then what are we saying? That we are just going to be dependent on this. Rest I leave it to, Nirav.
Yeah, Nirav, you're on the same team, but do you completely agree with what she's saying?
Yeah, we need to look at our role in terms of pyramid, right? there's something called as, and this is basically the value chain of contribution.
Okay.
There are things that are administrative. There are things that need my attention, which are mildly critical decision making, important decision making, critical decision making, and what is called as a impactful engagements. Now, when I look at this whole hierarchy of engagement, my point is that am I able to have my time spent more on the higher echelon of decision making compared to getting drawn into this? And which is what I'm again pulling out from the conversation that Puja was referring to, is that as a function lead, and if I go back to my first point where I said that today we have this opportunity, and I think it's our we'll miss out that opportunity if you don't get the seat at the table. How will you get seat at the table if you don't free yourself up from the bottom of the pyramid activity, the bottom of pyramid engagement, the bottom of pyramid decision making, and don't spend time and bandwidth engaging at a higher level? Today, my board is asking a very different question. They are asking that, okay, fine, today you have 3,000 beauty advisors. How are you going to ensure that your attrition rate is better than the market? How are you actually proposing this as a life career opportunity, then this becoming like a stopgap money-making opportunity for them? So today, the problems that I'm solving for are very different than I was solving 2 years back.
So, but what is the deterministic factor here? Empathy or cerebral capability? What is
both? Both.
Okay.
Now,
if you could
I'll just quickly finish this. So, number one, you cannot operate without empathy. I just want to make it fundamentally clear across the full hierarchy of our decision-making process. You just cannot operate without empathy. So, that's a given. Then comes the whole decision-making prowess, which is why the muscle memory of my ability to make those decisions is very important, that I feed it with adequate amount of data and make it easier for me to decide, right? Just the way you would teach an algo to make those decisions, I need to make my memory and my analytic capability also feed that quality of data, which means that I need to be fed with the right sort of data, with the right sort of input. So it's a mix of both. I will never make a right decision if I'm bereft of empathy.
Okay, Adhir, I'll come back to you. 1 second. Empathy, what has tech got to do with it?
I agree empathy is human, but delivery has to be digital, right? Employees don't need empathy after 2 weeks of delay. They need answers in real time. And you can't give answers in real time if you are absolutely traditional hands-on. You need tech, and tech will only be an enabler and ensure that the entire human HX, right, that we spoke about, is highly possible without technology. So yeah,
Pooja, just
it's
a
not,
question.
we're not taking away empathy. We are saying we...
Siju, one sec. I just want to engage, if I may have 30 seconds.
Sure.
So you mentioned that the employee would want to have that engagement real time, right? I mean, they'll probably switch off if I get that response in 2 weeks' time, right? That's what you said right now. Like I would want a solution which will have them a solution.
I said I need real-time solution.
Real-time solution. How will we know that we need to give them a real-time solution?
No, so tech tells you that. So for example, if I have the right technology, I don't have to wait for my HR
because
to
you're
send me
listening
my
to them. Because you're listening to them. Because you're listening to them.
Okay.
Why are you listening to them?
You know, at
Not
the
a
end,
human.
at
Tech
the
is
end of the day, we are there to manage people in retail.
Puja, just stay with me. I'm asking simple binary yes/no answers questions. Okay, so you have asked your system to listen to them, asking them questions that what sort of solution you want and how soon you want, right? That's what you're asking. Why are you asking that question?
Because they are our stakeholders.
Sorry?
They are our stakeholders.
They are your stakeholders, and because you want to solve for them, give them a solution that best suits their requirement, and hence you're operating from a point of empathy.
Of course.
I'm just saying, who says that AI does not take empathy into account? You know, if you are not tech literate, you would definitely say that is because you would not know that even in AI, when you're building that, there's an element of empathy that you build in, right? Which you say that first you understand and say everybody's right and comes to do the right thing. That's the first premise that you build in. And then you say, if there are variables, then what will you do? Then you say that if that variable is favorable, then what you do, and then not favorable, then it's a construct. What I'm trying to say is empathy is also built in.
No, absolutely. But what you're also underlining his point is that the ones who are driving the construct of empathy into a model is end of the day a human.
Human, yes.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
See, I think I just wanted to make a point here because you didn't allow me. So.
Yeah, sure.
Siju, you did that to us.
So I think we spoke about a while before this on culture, right? I think I just want to recoin Rakas this thing to culture eats strategy, or maybe now culture eats tech for breakfast. Yeah, sorry for that, but that's what will happen. Because at the end of the day, what are we looking? Even if you are looking a digital quotient as a culture element, yeah? If you don't have the culture inbred to embrace digital quotient, it will not happen. And where it comes from, it's not just coming from tech. So why it's culture, empathy, and these aspects very important, because if you don't have the right set of cultural tenets embraced by the people, embraced by the entire organization, nothing ever which you think that can, even tech, for example, if you want to build an AI culture for the future or any other culture for the future, if a digital quotient is not there, goddamn anything you can bring to this planet, but it will not actually shape what you want to actually deliver in the future.
So you agree we need AI culture to be built in the company? He's agreed.
You understand. No, you understand what I said. I am saying if the culture is not right, you understand, you have not heard me.
I did.
You have not heard me. You are
did.
saying that if I have to build a digital quotient in the organization, if my culture is not set right to actually accept and move forward with that, it will not happen. It doesn't happen just because I wish. And I have a hobby horse to bring the culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
You agree?
Yes. I agree to the fact that the culture has to be built by humans, by us, by HRs. But it trickles down, and needs standardization.
That's what we are saying, that it is traditional, not traditional, the HR per se, and not just tech alone can do this.
Mahesh,
you can't go to every person and build culture.
So Mahesh, can we muddy the waters a little more? I said, can we muddy the waters a little more?
Yeah, so whenever there's a tech discussion that happens, empathy is one thing that gets thrown at us, okay? My question is, empathy in the right place and the right time. If it is not there, does it matter?
Does it matter? Empathy not there in the right place and the right time, does it matter?
Sorry, I wasn't operating from empathy. Can you come back, please?
Yeah.
That empathy example came in, right? That gets in any discussion. Empathy gets thrown at any tech debate.
So culture.
Okay, let me correct that. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. This is not like a lame crutch that we are falling back on, and I want to strongly refute your claim over there. Tell me one product organization that has ever built a successful product without operating with empathy. One organization. It's impossible. You cannot do that without really understanding a consumer.
Okay, let me give an example, okay? Everybody who is, Gen Z sitting in this room, whenever you want to write an email or something like that, right? You would go and put some prompts, and why am I even saying Gen Z? All of us, you just put some prompts and just get an email done, and then and even if you've written an email, you will just upload it again and see whether or not your language is correct, your grammar is correct, your tone is right, and all that. Now, erstwhile, this used to be seen as a shame, right? Few months ago, or let's just say a year and a half back ago, if you referred to ChatGPT and ये ChatGPT से लिख के लाए हो, ये Copilot से लिख के लाए, it was seen as a shame. Now here is where the culture comes in. I am saying, at ABG we are proud for people who are using this tech. Hence, we have developed our own ABG intellect, which is not ChatGPT, which is not, it takes about entire group's information, intelligence, and builds. So if you tell that tool, Siju, that, build employee engagement program, it will look at cement, it will look at, telecom, it will look at Hindalco, it will look at retail, it will look at everything and tell you which works best for you. Now, what I'm trying to also tell you is that even today, in our day-to-day, when an intern writes a white paper about a proposal, we very proudly tell them, why don't you just get this AI cleaned? No problem. Just get it AI cleaned and bring it to us, right? So at least now, I don't have to do grammatical changes there. That's there. That's where I'll agree where that human intervention will come. And as an HR head, I would say, oh, let's just do this, let's just do that, and now let's just see. You will be very surprised. At times, I have got things which none of us have ever thought about, right? And where did it come? Oh, somewhere in a plant, somewhere in a cement factory, somebody did that, right? Somebody kept sanitary pads for females in somewhere. Where it was there, it is there in the whole world. Where did it go? It just came up and it says, in that plant, this was done and it increased your employee satisfaction. Why don't you even try that? So I'm saying that the culture is accepting it. The culture is saying that I love AI, I love tech. Yes, there is human there, but I love it. I think that's the culture that I'm talking about.
Yeah, we'll quickly wrap this particular push.
Also, Siju, what is they are calling tech? Is it only ChatGPT AI? You mean that it is a tech?
I know you guys are tech. You have to tell us.
Yes, I was about to say
That's
the
what.
same.
So how many of us are using WhatsApp as now official communication? That's a tech. That's a tech.
And your point being?
How many of us are using Teams?
Okay.
That's a tech. So it's not just ChatGPT and AI.
I think
Today we are using tech in every aspect. So our thing is not to remove the human from the people office. How do we keep the tech so that the efficiency of the human intervention becomes more critical, right? So how do I ensure that my connect with my people are more on a right side rather wasting time on all other things? So Siju, you said a startup like a sleep company. I'm sorry, we are no more startup. We are 1,000 crore company now.
Oh,
right? So I just want to make a point on that.
Round of applause.
We are no more startup company. And if my founder wants to build a culture, he can't go and tell everybody. Like there is a famous Three Idiots dialogue, right? The principal says, how do you want me to communicate the result? Do you want me to go and tell everybody here, this is your result? This is same way. I can't go and communicate my culture to one-on-one.
Uday,
If
just
I make a
step
point
back
and
for a
then
while
send
what
it.
you said.
Sorry?
Step back for a while. What your group said was this. Our proposition, the right upfront was that it is an enablement. It is an enabler for us. And someone of you all refuted, no, it's not an enabler. It's the thing. So understand.
I want
so
to
understand our
reiterate,
point.
it's not
Understand our
enabler,
point. You
it's a
said, you
survival.
guys said,
That's what Puja
you
said.
guys said that it is an enabler.
It's not an enabler
And
anymore. It is a
we all
survival
said
now.
it is an enabler.
They clearly don't
It is
have
an
empathy for
enabler.
each other.
No.
Right?
It's a survival.
It's an enabler, and we are saying it's an enabler. We are not saying it's going to replace X, Y, Z things.
So that's
so
where
why don't you all agree that it's an enabler for humans to actually flourish and grow, and not that it's going to be whatever else is that should be done.
We will
so
try and-
my suggestion, I think, why are you then refuting your own stance that you took in the earlier this thing that, we always said...
We are not refuting. We are still saying that HR tech is survival. It's not enabler. Yeah. And we are pretty much bang on that point.
Okay, so HR tech enables survival of HR. You know what? From what you said, culture eats technology for breakfast, then technology eats culture for lunch, and then dinner. Both of them together, they have it. Right? So anyway, we can keep going on doing this. Now, unknown to these folks here, there are 8 of you in the audience who would have gotten a slip of paper. Right? Who are those 8?
Siju, I was not paid for this.
I need to have a surprise element in it. So 4 I get here. Who are the other 4? Okay. Now, what these folks are doing, they are actually grading the debate as it goes along on the dimensions that we are talking about. Okay? I didn't want to do that because then there will be bias. I said, let the audience decide. It's not about being a winner or a loser. It's about being as to how persuasively are the arguments getting across to the team out here. Right? So we were at a logical halfway point. We got about 20 minutes now, so I'll try and kind of hurry this up a bit. We did a lot of discussion around culture, and I'm so glad we did, because it's been a big personal value add for me as well, because that for me is very, very important. I come from organizations like, I started my career with Godrej, then went on to Adidas. I was on the business side of things. Then I've been with organizations like Microsoft, Oracle, and IBM. So a lot of it was already there, templatized, kind of fine-tuned to the Indian market, and so on and so forth. I see a lot of these, memories coming flooding back. But for folks out here who are part of HR, there was a time when I used to dread the fact that, an HR guy would say, you know what, tera future tere haath mein hai. Right? When I used to tell them, okay, performance appraisal hai, how do we go about doing it? No, it's all in your hands. And trust me, that was a joke going on. Right? Saying that HR ko puch ke fayda nahi hai, bolenge ki it's in your hands. Right? Jabki bell curve to aayega. Right? Till some companies decided to abolish it. So coming to performance appraisals and the associated tasks, how do both the sides look at performance appraisal, right? And how do you make sure, and this is tightly linked to the development part of it as well, right? Because we just can't have appraisal for the heck of it. So how does that come into play for both of you, traditional as well as tech?
So let me start.
Okay.
This time around, when you are sitting and doing performance appraisal and increment decisions, ACR decisions for 20,000 plus people,
okay.
The initial days of forming forming a view of what you want to do used to take about 2 weeks, right? And after 2 weeks also, when people used to present, we used to go saying, okay, that store manager in that, he's P80, right? P90, why are you giving increment to that person, and so on and so forth. So, or why are you not doing it for him, because he's the key member there. And we're not very sure on whether at the end of the day also we took all the right decisions. Unless and until you give it to the operations, then they would look at it and all that. Cut to the last cycle that we did. It was I think an hour in which we uploaded the entire thing that we did last year with all the additions that we did. I think within an hour it told us where everybody stood. What is the recommendation? What we need to do about it, right? And it also kind of made a lot of things clear, because there was also a time-to-time feedback, net promoter scores of the stores which were put in. So there were a lot of criterias that were put in to kind of say what should be the increment, what should be the rating for this person, right? And it happened in trust me, less than an hour, okay? Which actually gave us more quality time to kind of do this discussion with the people and not just send them by email and say, this is your appraisal, this is. So like she said, it frees up your time to kind of then have quality conversations with people, because the thing that was required, why do we have to wash clothes with our hands when we have washing machine? like करने दो washing machine को अपना काम. We will use that time to kind of do other things in life.
So you're saying first quantitative, then qualitative.
Exactly. First filter that out.
You agree?
So
How will that work? I mean, if I put in quantity into a, like, I mean, this is basically a machine that's going to do the analytics and throw the data back at me. I mean, it's garbage in, garbage out, right? So my quality of data has to be good, right?
Yeah, and I think it's also, whenever you look at a data, whenever you look at anything enabled by tech, fantastic. We have never said it's not a good enabler. It is. But how do you interpret that information? There are multiple different ways. There are X number of minds sitting in this room here. You give the same set of data to everybody and you may get different inputs and insights, right? So it's not only about coming down to performance management again, not to annual salary reviews, but on performance management as well. Yes, the tool will allow you to have better questions or maybe right way of managing, and you can look at the cycle, how you're doing it and all of that. But at the end of the day, managers inputting and not doing anything versus having a conversation with the co-worker, letting him or her know this is what was good, this is what was not good. There's a sense of acknowledgement. We all need social recognition. Somebody sitting and talking to me. I understand, I'm able to interpret and see from the same eye that the organization wants me to see, rather than interpreting and figuring out whatever I want to figure out of that information. So it's not that it's not a good enabler. It's also about how are you making use of that enablement for the right development of your own people requires you to have the time. So we are still on the same page and we are maintaining the stance from that time that it's a strong enabler. Giving us the time to do the right thing with the co-workers, but not leaving them completely to look at
So what you're
You know,
essentially
actually, my problem
something?
is that why is tech always called an enabler? Why are we not saying that the human intervention is an enabler? And you know, I mean, why is always tech regarded as
Good.
as
I think
something
DT, you answered your own question.
No, I'm just
This
saying.
data, etc., is for whom?
Of course, not for robots. It's for you,
Yes.
my friend.
You
And-
answered my question.
No,
You
that's what
answered
I'm
my
saying.
question.
Then use it.
There was no
And-
need
and-
for a CHRO or need for an HR, BP, etc. in the organization. Have robots there.
So why
This data, this kind of tamjam that you do, etc.,
Yeah.
is good. But it's an enabling tamjam.
No, but why
How
are we
will it
doing
not
this?
help you as a person to actually take recourse to where's the quality of feedback? Where's the quality of feed forward that you want to give? It is for your help, right, DT? It has helped you to bring the entire cycle down to 1 hour. So it has helped you as an enabler and not replaced you.
And
Would you
Adhir,
like that to replace you?
simple thing.
Just a minute. Would you like that to replace you?
Oh, anytime. Why
Oh,
not?
wow.
Listen,
Then that's
anytime.
something
I'll
we
tell
should.
You, I'll tell you why.
That
I'll
I
tell you
think.
why. No,
that
I'll tell
I
you why.
think-
Because then it will free up my time to stop doing mundane things. And I'm just saying this. You can't have you're not saying that you are not going to have any conversations. By the way, you are not saying that. You are also not saying that after the tech tells you what to do, you are just going to blindly follow that. You're not saying that. I'm only saying that will it allow you to expand your thinking around what you are currently deciding or not? If yes, then just embrace it, because that particular tech that is telling you to do something, it's not written. Who is going to sign? There is not a robot who's going to come and sign there. You are going to sign. You are going to decide. But then why are you saying that tech is an enabler? It is your partner in crime, right? It is somebody who is going to there with you. No, you can't just say whenever something goes wrong, Siju, right? What do people say? Nobody says that. Nobody says that. Well, I did that mistake. Well, everybody has to say that, because you can't just say then, oh, enabler ne galti kar diya, right? It's not like that.
Okay.
I think the reason we keep calling it an enabler is because people first. It's as simple as that, right? We are trying to do everything for people. And hence we are saying it's people first and the enablers, which is supporting everything in strengthening that aspect of your organization, because people is the power that's taking you forward. I'll also bring in another aspect that while we're today debating about this, I know that if this was some other forum, we would have spoken about this as a challenge, is about the intellectual mindset of the people we're bringing in the organization. Few years from today, when we all probably would have started, we spent time to learn analysis. We spent time to learn data. We spent time to understand emotions, psychology, situations, learned all of that. Today, all I need to do is the one skill set that I'm developing is how do I write a prompt. And outside of that, what is your social knowledge? Nothing. I can bet on this. You step out today, if this was not a conversation and you leave this forum free for 5 minutes, none of us will be talking to any of us. All of us will go back to our phones. That is the only skill set. in a way, I am numbing myself and my intelligence just beyond the prompts.
Again,
So
deviating from the
let
topic.
me give you some data.
So
Let me
Siju,
give you some data.
So Nirav,
bear
I'll just hold on because Mahesh has been trying to speak.
Why
for
are you
some
being
time.
biased?
Because I'm a human.
Those 8 people, please make note of this.
Yeah.
So the point that's
Closer
was
to mic.
making, that we are numbing ourselves and thing, like for example, earlier we used to do this. Now, I think it's been ages that one generation before us, typing used to be an important aspect, right? For any kind of job qualification. It's not required anymore because the things have evolved. So similarly, it's not required today for me to do a lot of analytics because yes, AI is doing it, but I still need to know if I need to give proper prompting, I still need to know the basics. I still need to understand regression analysis and stuff like that. So how good I know that is important, number one.
Yeah.
Okay, number two, like we said, you call it an enabler, you call it a partner in crime, like I rightly said. You commit a crime with it or you commit a good deed with it is in human hands.
Yeah.
Okay, we are ensuring that the right tools are available.
Yeah. So fantastic you bring that up. What has that done to us? The basic civil sense is not there in us today. For very simple example, we all are from retail and we want to give good, from our perspective, co-worker experience. And from co-workers, we train to do good customer experience. Yeah. In India specifically, let's talk where we are. We require service. Service starts with greeting, saying, can I help you? Or excuse me, or sorry, or, all of that. That basic thing is missing because we're all stuck with the phone. I want to put this out in the form of, let's say, whatever app and say, please learn the basic etiquette when you see a customer to learn how to greet. We don't understand that. Today, to find a greeter to stand and just smile and, reach out and start talking to people is becoming a difficult skill.
No, point taken, and that's a problem with too much tech any which ways, right, across the board. Nirav.
No, there is a verifiable research on this. Harvard Medical Studies has recently published a report where they studied a cohort of students. One was given AI to use for their project work and the other was not given an AI. The students that were predominantly dependent on AI, using ChatGPT for even the basic requirement of research, had seen their cerebral capability drop significantly. Yeah. I mean, it's out there.
No, true.
So the point being that, nobody is saying no, but the point is we'll have to be responsible. Today, look at middle management, the kind of challenges that we are facing. She's talking about greeting. People don't even know how to talk to each other. No, small conversation, confrontational conversations, people crying that my emotional aura is gone and all that. I'm like, bhai saab, ruk.
No, agreed, point taken. Too much of tech is bad in almost anything and everything.
Can I say something? Just a minute.
Sure.
No.
that's traditional.
I think
that's the tech speaking.
What about? I don't know.
Adhir, let's give her a chance to, because
allow the tech to do the job.
Adhir. And not only that, too much of debate is also bad for these guys. We could continue for about 3 hours, but we got just about 8 minutes left.
So just a quick wrap up.
Yeah.
I feel that they are digressing. Okay, we are not talking about how good AI is for the generation to come. We are not talking about social skills of humans and how AI is impacting that. Sorry, wrong conversation. What we are saying is data in any form, and that data is, and as he said, tech is not only AI, right? Recently, we did a research on what is the effectiveness of a training program on the front line. And earlier, as HRs, and I'm sure you all do that, right? We only measure what is put in, number of hours put in, what is the feedback, how much learning. But this is the first time, thanks to data, I had my entire CSI scores for different malls. I had the entire mystery audit scores for different malls. And I could establish a correlation between the scores and the level of service that actually changed. And that is possible only because I had data and because we use technology for measurement of CSI and ME.
No,
so
point taken.
Limited point.
Okay.
If I just look at if I do keyword search of this conversation alone that we've had for the last, 80 minutes now,
Yeah.
if I put AI and data together, that would have taken up about 70% of this decibel, right? Which means that it's not just tech. We are talking about AI. See, we cannot say that, oh, I will talk about tech but not AI. Because suddenly, AI seems to be there.
No, point
so
taken.
let's just say that it's actually living a synonymous life.
No,
So,
absolutely. I'll have to kind
Just
of...
one point on the
Okay.
PMS, because you started
Udaya.
with PMS, it has gone to somewhere else.
Okay.
So with reference to PMS, I just wanted to ask one question to all the HR folks here. How many times we hear during the appraisal cycle, people come and tell us that, the last entire year my manager did not tell me anything wrong. Suddenly he has rated me 2 or 3 in the appraisals. How many of us have heard about this in our appraisal cycles, right? We are hearing this, right? Why? Because it is more of a traditional and paper pen, one-on-one conversation. But think about this, tech enables you to tell this to, tell your manager that every month you have to do this records. And then every month it is getting captured. On the 3rd month, you'll come to know who's your weak performer and who you need to work on.
Okay.
So this enablement makes the tech as a survival for the manager. That's the performance
point
management.
taken.
So I have a serious issue there. I'll tell you 1 second.
I can really contest that right now. Go ahead, Nirav. After you.
No. So Nirav...
Where's the
Last
chivalry
one,
gone, yaar? I mean, just look at it. Let the man speak.
Okay, Nirav...
Go ahead.
Okay,
हाँ, so my point, मेरा सिर्फ एक limited point है कि इस कंपनी में मैनेजर अपनी कंपनी का नाम बहुत सीरियसली ले रहे हैं.
Okay.
पूरा साल.
Okay, that was below the belt.
Oh, please, we've borne a lot of it
Okay.
already.
So, I mean, he's being sugary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if Nirav and Adhir had their way, we would spend the weekend here. But I'm sure that's not the plan, right? But
We are not?
Okay, no. So let's quickly do this because we just got about 5 minutes left, and the folks at RA are very, very efficient in kicking people out when the time comes. I want to quickly get on to. I want to skip the productivity and collaboration part of it and get into something slightly more serious, which is compliance and ethics. Now that's something that we can't wish away, right? With the amount of enablement that's happening, sorry for the use of the word, but enablement that's happening with the kind of info that one feeds on, compliance ethics is a huge issue. How do you suggest that we approach compliance and ethics from a traditional angle and from a tech angle? I'll start with you, Nirav.
Thank you.
At last.
Thank you. I think from that perspective as well, for us to become smarter or for our technology to become smarter and enable us effectively, I think it's important for us to decide where are we starting and where are we stopping and what are the checkpoints, right? All the tech giants of the world have spoken already about it quite at large, and quite a lot of content out there talking about how it can be dangerous for us as well if we are not responsible around it. Had it been the mainstream than the people, I think we wouldn't have things like a DPDPS and GDPR and etc. and multiple different things and all these caveats coming in. For that matter, even your when we use chat GPTs and etc., they tell you that please use your discretion at the end of everything. Though I'm giving you a certain response, please use your wisdom while you're using it. And then also sensibly put in your data because you're responsible. Ultimately, it's putting the responsibility back on me on what is it I'm inputting. No doubts about it that the organizations have evolved quite a lot in terms of putting about as much security as we can, but it's still very reactive. Mm-hmm. In my view, it will continue to be reactive because we do not know what is the level of impact that can happen. The only preparedness that can happen is we as teams, as people, anticipate, do the scenario planning and keep it and be ready if something happens and we look at it. But I can tell you that it's paramount.
So what you're saying is that you need to define the guardrails.
We need to.
And guardrails are important.
Yes.
So compliance is much more possible through. Today I can decide what content has to be used in my laptops. What is that my employees cannot take home. Even we are ensuring that even somebody is attaching something in WhatsApp webs, we are able to know what is that attachment is. So we are now more compliant from that perspective. Just forget about the HR. When it comes to compliance, even the statutory bodies are there, right? See how much the tech has come into PF. I remember when I started my journey as a HR, PF people used to call me for PF. Sir, what happened to my PF? I want to withdraw. Form, go and meet the PF officer 3 times, 4 times. Today, nothing. Sitting at your home, you can withdraw your PF. So that's the compliance the tech has brought in today. So it's not just only within the organization, even the external bodies, the statutory bodies are completely into the tech. Sitting here, I can obtain my software establishment license for Tamil Nadu. So that's what tech has enabled us.
Okay.
So that's the point that we are coming back to again. I think he answered very beautifully that sitting at home again. So it is in service of what?
Sorry?
It is in service of what? Tech is in service of human beings, right? Yeah.
Adhir Mane, your job
Yes
is
or no?
secured. Don't
Yes
worry.
or no? Right?
Your job is secured. So don't worry
So
about it.
basically, what I'm saying is basically what we are saying as a group is basically it's an enabler. We are not here saying that tech will replace, etc. But what we are clearly articulating, which you also articulated just now, that at night I can go and see and visualize my PF and withdraw, etc. is helping whom? Is helping you and me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Therefore, that people side, which you typically call it traditional, can't be overruled at any point in time.
Okay.
Right? That's something which we want to just completely tell.
Great point, and we'll conclude at
Not
that.
overruling, but just a point. Typically, traditional approach to compliance and ethics usually ended up being reactive. Failure of compliance, issue of ethics that's when we used to wake up. Today, tech enablement helps us to ensure that we get proactive into it.
Yeah, I mean, for example, say a report written, say a POSH committee did some, conversation, did some investigation, and then a report was written down, right? And I'll tell you traditional versus tech here. So traditionally, it was written down and things like that. The decision got challenged in the court of law, and there were missing things in that, and everything went for a toss. Versus now, a report is made. It is made watertight, right? Whatever report you make, whatever decisions you have taken are made watertight, and AI tells you how to make that watertight. That's one part of the tech. Second, say store licenses and all the other things that we do. At ABG, we know what is getting when. There is nobody sitting and manually looking at Excel sheets and doing it. It is so much automated that there are red flags that comes out every month and says, these are your red flags for the month, and this is what you need to deal with in the forthcoming month or forthcoming week. If this is not there, and I'm not saying somebody has to do that, right? It will not happen. And I'm not saying that a human being is not required. I'm saying the traditional method is not required.
Okay. So now we are almost at the end of it. Time's up. So I would request one of you from each team to kind of wrap it up. And, keep it succinct, short, and let's not use the word enabler.
Yeah. So Siju, if you ask me, I just want to ask you, ask audience one more question. How many of us are using DigiYatra? Most of us are traveling, right? How many of us are using DigiYatra? Quite a lot of people, right? So why are we using it? Can we replace all the CRPF? Why are we using DigiYatra? So okay. DigiYatra
point taken.
Yeah, it helps us. So that's what the tech in HR is. So tomorrow, if my tech is simplifying my things and putting people first, they were saying people first. Tech is the right. Technology is the right one to put the people first because I know the real-time problem and I can solve to the core. So that's what the tech is.
So tech helps put people first.
We love it.
Thank you for summing it for us as well, but Robin will do it.
Robin will hit the last ball, please.
Okay, there are a lot of things, and I think you got very touchy with the word enabler. But I think everybody in this room knows that tech is an enabler, and people are at the core, at the heart, right? Whatever we do in HR, we keep people at the center, people at the heart. It's only the tech and the digital which is in the hands. Right?
So one line to that, we are the high-tech part of it. Come join us and become the high-touch. That's what we can win with.
Okay. So now what I'll do is I'll open it up for questions. I'll take 2 of them because I think we are pretty much off time. Any questions? Yes.
Sir, my question is around even years back, there used to be technology in it. A lot of HR functions were driven by technology, especially on comp and ven side, claims. Only thing is the technology has evolved. And the kind of role it started playing is a little more than what it used to be. So my understanding is technology is always going to be the part of the HR. Only thing with the advent of this generative AI, I think the role is changing. So how do you see? Because the technology was always there, even in the traditional HR.
So let me take that for you. I think you rightly said technology was always there. It just has got more smart now, right? So when you say you're putting claims also on the system before, now it has become slightly smarter and is avoiding duplicate claims. Right? It is making sure that you don't have to enter all that. You use your good time to not prepare claims at the weekend when you're in, especially when you're in sales, but use that time with your family. So that's how it has happened. I think the more important thing is that this technology that we are talking about, which is freeing up your time. How responsibly are you going to use that, and how much time are you going to go and do that, and when are you going to say enough? That's about it. I think that's where the whole point is there. Have I answered your question?
So the idea is whether this debate, what we are doing here, is actually real or not. Because,
it is.
Because now the role has grown does not mean that they are two different things. There cannot be HR tech versus traditional HR.
So I'll give you an example. Erstwhile, when your business leader or CEO said that you have to do a X task, okay, you would say कि पापा इस quarter में possible नहीं है, हम अगले quarter में बात करेंगे. इस quarter में I have got top 3 priorities that you have only given me 2 weeks back, right? So I'm not able to do. Now what tech does it allows you, because you can free up your time and do things faster, it allows you to take more and more things. It allows you to make sure that now, so your role is not going anywhere, right? It just allows you to become more efficient. It just allows you to do more things in the given time.
Okay, excellent. I think if you have further questions, since he's part of tech, you can meet him one-on-one outside. Don't WhatsApp him. Yes. Any more? I'll take one more last question. Yes, sir. And keep it short, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the HR Tech panel, so I understand that, even ma'am also suggested that, with the advent of technology and AI, we are able to, see the milestones and the completion rates are on really high these days, right? At the same time, do you think that, tech-enabled feedback scores, like, if we say 4.9 or 4.8, that look majestic. But at the same time, we still have to traditionally, talk to people that whether it has really made an impact or not. Enabling a tech survey as well, if you get some answers onto
What's
that.
your question?
But the question is that even if we use the tech-enabled things, right, even the surveys of the feedback forms, but still we might have to traditionally go and talk to the people that whether it has really made an impact or not.
At no point in time have they negated that. In fact, they have always underlined it, saying that there is an oversight that's needed, right? So I think that's that.
My friend, what's your name?
Surendra.
Welcome to the team.
So he's done recruitment here. So this is great.
He was not part of the date.
We settled it.
That's the traditional way of getting people to ask.
Okay, now since he mentioned 8, so let me tell you that what they did was they scored the discussion rather, the debate on all the parameters that we talked about. And, we've got a 180 and a 187. So not much to choose from.
6-7.
6-7 का अंतर है, right? 19-20 is passe, so it's about 6-7, right? 6-7, and that kind of points to the fact that these are so tightly interlinked that we really can't be blindfolded to the other part of it. And 25 years in tech has taught me one thing. The way I see tech today is that there are 2 things which are very important. One is context, and second is that very, very popular thing called as human in the loop, right? It doesn't matter what size of the data model or the logical or the large LLMs or SLMs are you making, but it's always about the human in the loop. Human in the loop will never go away, correct? So the human touch is there. Last but not the least, I'll probably say this, that I wish there was a tech that will help me navigate the IKEA store. But that's by design, right? So read up on it. And I wanted to just end with this. What I can say is thank you so much for being such a patient audience. A huge round of applause to these 8 folks out here, right? Thank you so much. It was wonderful interacting with you and wonderful moderating this. This was one of a kind. So when Bhumika reached out, and she expected a lot more bloodshed than what probably happened here, and probably she's not going to forgive me for that. But then I think this was a fantastic discussion. It's been a personal value add for me, and I hope it was a value add for you as well. Was it? Yes. That's it. Yes. Thank you so much.